Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another epic Minecraft League of Legends video. Thank you guys so much for 6 subscribers. It really means a lot to me that we reached this milestone so fast. But anyways, this is a 5 subscriber special because I'm trying to make a subscriber special for every subscriber up until about 100. Anyways, be ready for a 6 subscriber special soon, but this is also why this subscriber special is a bit lower quality than the other ones. Anyways, thank you guys so much. Sorry about the little hiatus I took after the last video. I was too busy grinding League, trying to get to Emerald. I'm currently about Plat 3. Just got double LP, so that always feels good. This is actually my 3rd try trying to record this video. I had to delete the other 2 because they were just so bad. So hopefully this one's better. 3rd try's a charm, as they say. Anyways, if you want to be part of the journey to the road to 7 subscribers, make sure you hit the like below and subscribe down below as well. Alright, now for a bit of context, I'm making this video because there are a lot of high elo coaches making videos like these for low elo players. But who knows when the last time like those coaches were actually themselves in bronze, silver, or gold. I've struggled through these ranks myself, so I think I have a better understanding of what you guys and us, the players, actually go through. So I thought I'd make a list of things I was doing wrong, my teammates are currently still doing wrong in Plat, and what my friends have been doing wrong, especially when we first started playing League. Now there's 10 things, but I think I only wrote down 9, so I'm going to make one up as we go. But the first one is playing too many champions. Now, especially as a new player, League has a pretty steep learning curve, so playing a lot of champions at the very start can make it even steeper. As you may know, each champion has 4 abilities, and understanding the range, ability cooldowns, scaling, items, playstyle can all be quite overwhelming. So playing too many champions at the start can have a pretty detrimental effect. I know it can be pretty tempting, especially at the start, to want to play all the new champions you see in the shop, but maybe give their abilities all a glance and then try out a few champions, at least for 2 or 3 games. Now, it definitely takes more than 2 or 3 games to understand a champion, but I think in the start it's a bit too tempting to play a bunch of champions because everybody wants to figure out what champion works best for them. And obviously that's their goal, and that's a really good way to climb as well. But that leads us directly on to the next point of the video. Tip number 2, which is playing only one champion. And this is something I myself have fallen into. It's a trap because a lot of guides, especially those pro-made guides, are recommending one-tricking a champion, a strong champion in their tier list to rank up. However, what they don't tell you is that that also requires knowledge of all the other champions that you're going to play into. So basically every champion in the game. And that is exactly why playing only one champion can hinder your progress more than you might think. Even if you have perfect understanding of your champion, League is a relative game, right? Like, you need to balance knowing your champion and knowing the enemy champion. Because after all, this isn't a PvE. The matchups are going to be different every time, and it's crucial that you understand the strengths and weaknesses of the champions you go against. For example, mid lane, if I don't understand Syndra's abilities, this lane will be much harder. This lane's already pretty hard. Sorry about the video, by the way, I don't know why it's tweaking out like this. But Syndra has a very key ability, or 2 abilities, called the QE, where she shoots a ball at me and then stuns me. Now if I get hit by this, I take a lot of damage, so what I'm thinking about in lane constantly is to dodge the QE. And that's easier said than done, obviously, so I can make things a little bit easier for myself by, say, buying boots or taking a movement speed shard. Anyways, that's why you shouldn't only play one champion to start out, and that is also tip 2. Now, tip 3, also on the champion side, is letting the meta change you. I think you should play what's fun for you, especially if you want to improve. In low elo, it's not required to play the strongest champions to rank up. Of course, it does help a lot, or it can hinder your rank up depending on what champion you play. But remember that you are playing for fun at the end of the day, and you should play a champion that's fun for you, even if it's not strong in the quote-unquote meta. That's because what you don't realize, or what I don't realize either, is that when you have fun, you get less tilted and you make better judgments and you understand your champion more. You want to learn. Whereas if you play a strong champion but it's not fun for you, then it's more mentally taxing. It's like, why would you do something that's not fun? League should be something that's fun for you, right? And that's exactly why you shouldn't always be a meta slave, as they say. Also, it's good to remember that a good player, a pro player, or one trick can always get out of any rank just by playing their one champion, even into the worst matchups, and even if it seems weak in low elo. So, if they can, you can too. So it can be better to watch them play and understand what they're doing than to try and force yourself to play a meta champion that may or may not be as fun for you. The next tip number 4, is not trusting yourself. It can be really hard to not trust yourself, especially as a new player, right? There's constantly teammates giving you feedback, whether you like it or not. They might be spam pinging you, they might be telling you to do something, but you gotta remember, at the end of the day, you are the only consistent factor in the game. So improving yourself is what matters most, even more than winning games, in fact, I'd say. Think about it. Would you rather lose a game because you trusted your teammates' intuition, or would you rather lose a game because you trusted your own judgment? The choice is pretty clear, isn't it? I think it's also easier to improve if you are actively making judgments. If you can get an active positive or negative feedback loop immediately from seeing your actions play out, that can help you improve way faster than just passively watching your teammates' decisions. Of course, League is a very difficult game, so understanding if it's a positive or a negative feedback loop can be a challenge for sure. For example, a play that works in one game might be a play that doesn't work in another game, even if it's the exact same play. Roaming might be the correct choice here, but not there. Staying mid might be a good choice here or not there. So it can be really important that you keep a flexible mindset. But at the end of the day, it's definitely the most important that you trust your own judgment, you be in charge of your own games, and you should be the one actively leading your teammates rather than letting the teammates lead you. It's also important to reflect on your judgments. Sometimes you are wrong, and sometimes your teammates are right. Instead of getting mad at your teammates, it can be a good learning moment, which sounds really corny, but it's true. If you can learn from your mistakes, that's really all that matters, right? Even if your teammates are the ones to point it out, it can feel a little bit bad in the moment, but at the end of the day, you gotta remember that you are the one improving. So you should take all the help you can get. The next, more mechanical tip is to keep your camera locked for too long. Now, of course, when you start out, keeping your camera locked can be very refreshing. It's like locked camera versus unlocked camera for new players is probably like playing with your hands versus playing with your feet even, right? When you first get started, you don't want to control your character and have to control your camera. And there's a lot of cons to having unlocked camera as well, such as having to flick your mouse a lot. I think it's a bit harder to judge your abilities' range. It can be also easier to kind of misclick while you're flicking your mouse and going completely opposite direction. It's a bit harder to dodge because you need to know where your character is, and your character isn't always on the same spot on the screen, right? So if you want to dodge left, sometimes you have to click on a certain place of the screen versus other times you have to click somewhere else. That being said, the pros of having an unlocked camera versus the cons of having a locked camera usually outweigh the pros of having a locked camera, especially as you get better. You'll see this because because a lot of the pros use unlocked camera basically always, and that is that some champions just require unlocked camera to play to a competent level. Things like Zed, Yasuo, Aurelia, they are 10 times easier if you play with an unlocked camera. Imagine playing Yasuo and every time you dash, the minion also moves on your screen. That would be impossible to play. Same with Aurelia. Also, with an unlocked camera, you have a wider field of vision, so you can see projectiles from further away, which can also help you dodge them. It's like having a bigger monitor, literally. That's what unlocked camera allows you to do. Anyways, on to the next tip. Back to more mental stuff, and that is getting easily tilted. Now, that's I don't know why I'm saying tips. It's mistakes that we all made, so it's stuff you probably shouldn't do. except for lock camera. Keep the lock camera, or unlock your camera. Yeah. Anyways, getting easily tilted. Why is this bad? Well, it's pretty freaking obvious, except people don't really know the extent to which it's important. Let me just spell it out. It doesn't help you improve, have fun, or win, which is kind of the three main reasons you play League to begin with. Like, keep in mind that you aren't very good, I'm not very good, the person flaming you isn't that good, and the person you're flaming also isn't that good. A good mental image to have, one that I keep to not get tilted at my teammates, is that they're all like toddlers. You wouldn't get mad at a toddler for, say, knocking over a glass or throwing up on the carpet, would you? Now that's actually the same for your teammates. You shouldn't get mad at your Malphite if he misses R. You shouldn't get mad at your Lee Sin if he doesn't press R for the rest of the game. Watch, by the way, this man literally does not press R, ever. Maybe he does, but very rarely. And always blaming your teammates doesn't help you improve either. Remember that you are the only consistent factor, and factually, your average teammates and your average enemies always will have equal skill. And everybody makes wrong plays, and that's okay. You just have to move past it. Even in pro play, a lot of players make mistakes. Like, you think Faker, of all players, flames Doran for his dogshit plays? No. Especially in solo queue, chances are that you can't make your teammates improve during that game. So it's better to focus on what you can change. Use the data provided by the teammates. Don't just ignore their mistakes. Understand their mistakes and try to prepare better to accommodate for their mistakes, you know? It's like raising a toddler, like I said. Similarly, giving up is almost always bad. The lower the elo, the more games you can come back from. Cadril once said that people play ping pong with the lead. What that means is that it swings back and forth between the two teams. Even if it looks like one team has the lead, they'll throw it right to the other team. And the only time I think you should FF, or at least mentally check out, is if there's an undeniably large difference in both skill, gold, map control, scaling, right? If you're losing in all those factors, I think it's better to give up so you don't ruin your mental. Instead, prepare for the next game. Understand, try to reflect over your mistakes. Alright, next one. And I don't know why I keep switching between mental and mechanical, but the next one is not having quick cast on. And this is a bit of a controversial one because a lot of the other cast systems, a lot of the other control hotkeys do have their places as well. Except for most players and most champions, quick cast is objectively the superior one. If you didn't know, quick cast is that you can cast your ability immediately after pressing it. On the contrary, quick cast with indicator casts the ability when you release it. And this can have some uses, especially on champions where you really want to line up the ability before casting it. Things like Twisted Fate, Bard, and Misfortune, for example. Now, quick cast with indicator can also be pretty good on all champions if you want to have a general understanding about a champion's range. Say you're just starting out and you don't know Lux's range or stuff like that. Skill shots, for example. It can be good to have quick cast with indicator on just so you don't always whiff your abilities. Also, a good setting related to that you can have is where you cast your ability immediately at the edge of its range. When you click out of range. It sounds kind of confusing, it makes sense. I'm just bad at explaining it. It's a good ability to have on most champions, so you should use it. The other option is that you walk towards the location you need to be to cast the ability if you click outside the range. Now here, those are two options, the only two options in fact, and for the majority of players, you just want to pick the one that casts the ability at the edge of range. Think about it like this. Imagine you're playing, say, Lux, and you accidentally click outside the Q range, which is your root, when pressing Q. One option, the first option, the better option, will be that you immediately cast Q in that general direction. And the second option is that you start walking towards where you need to be in range to cast Q. So think about it, if there's an assassin coming at you and you accidentally misclick and press Q too far away, the first option would still press Q, well the Q ability would still shoot out, so that the assassin would get snared and you could run away. But the other option would have you walk, in fact, towards the assassin, towards where you need to be to land the Q, which would probably put you in range of the assassin and you would die. Things like that. Anyways, I'm going to pop up a quick screenshot of my specs or settings. Remember that my computer is a Mac gaming at the end of the day, so it's definitely not optimal for all players. It's just what works for me. Next up, I already lost count, so I'm gonna say it's like 7, is not VOD reviewing yourself. And this is a big one. It's one that I also didn't do. I said to myself, it's stuff that my friends and I really didn't do, which is why I'm making the video of it. But VOD reviewing is the #1 way to improve your decision making, at least. It helps you mentally reset after a game and observe yourself from a third-party point of view. It also helps you see what the enemies might be thinking. Of course, it's better to do it right after a game ends, but doing it whenever is always beneficial. Doing it with your friends, obviously, or teammates. I think people won't be having teammates, but doing it with your friends can also have an extra benefit in that they usually have a different perspective than you. Even if you think your decision was good in the replay, your teammates might not. And I don't know why I keep saying teammates, your friends might not. And obviously your friends, unless they're in higher elo, probably won't be always correct, but it's definitely good because it gives you a broader opinion. One decision that you thought would be objectively wrong might not be objectively wrong, right? And that will kind of broaden your perspective on that thing. Next up is being afraid of dying / limit testing. One of my biggest pet peeves are when supports, junglers, and people who don't really need to be alive like play way too safe. And I think that's because they're scared of dying, which is obviously makes sense. That being said, KD is almost always irrelevant in most games. League, CS, I mean, it's not irrelevant, but it doesn't tell the full story in any of these games, right? Think about like the Baus, for example. He can have a terrible KD but still play. Obviously, he's an extreme example, but there are definitely some cases in games where it's better that you die than something worse happens for your team. And that's a good thing to remember. But that's not all I'm talking about here. I think a lot of new players are always scared of limit testing because it sometimes results in them dying. And to that I say it's okay to die. It's better that you limit test, understand where your limits are, understand why you died is a big one though, and then make a decision to improve for next time. It's way better than doing that than say playing a anti-scaling assassin or jungler, something like a Lee Sin, and being too scared to make plays across the map, being too scared to die, which is another topic, right? You're just gonna get outscaled in the late game, and you're never gonna have a chance to shine. The chance to shine is the early game, which you're too scared to commit in. The opposite and the same of that is playing a Giga scaling champion, something like a Jinx or an Azir, and being way too scared in the early game. I think I am a bit vulnerable to this. That being said, I do die a lot to like mages or to assassins and stuff like that. And so if you play way too safe and you sacrifice too much farm, stand too far back in team fights, either you or your team or both will end up being too weak in the late game to contest, and you'll just bleed out and die. Also, you won't improve. The big thing is improving. It's harder to improve. No matter if the game turns out good or bad, it's way harder to improve if you don't limit test. And this applies for all types of champions. I'm talking ADCs, mages, tanks, enchanters, assassins. Obviously, there's a range that you should stand, but you should always try to toe that line. You shouldn't always be way too far back, or way too close up, right? Alright, that's it. And it's also important to try to dive. I think it's the thing that high elo players do, and a lot of low elo players don't, because they're scared of even trading 1-for-1 under the enemy's team's tower, which is always good. And if you didn't know, diving is to kill an enemy under their own tower, so they have added protection. Now, why can diving be good and help you improve? Well, diving requires a lot of essential skills to pull off, things like understanding the enemy's champion's cooldowns, understanding your own ability's damage, right? Learning skills like juggling tower aggro with your teammates. All crucial skills that can help you rank up. Now, finally, on to the last two. Did I have more than 10? I don't know. And that is being too rigid in your play style, and not adapting to the enemy. For example, I want to take this game. My team has a pretty decent team comp. We have a Garen, who's AD and somewhat tanky. Also, he has a lot of tenacity into their Syndra, which kind of counters her. We have a Lee Sin who offers some peel. He's an AD and a bruiser as well. We have a Zir who offers AP damage and is this clip already? And a bunch of crowd control as well. And then we have Jinx, who's obviously an ADC. It's good to have him on the team. And we have Thresh, who's just a CC tank machine. But now let's look at the enemy team. We have Gnar, which is kind of tanky, but not really. He doesn't really want to be the main tank or the only tank on the team. We have Jarvan, who is a good person. His ultimate works with a lot of other champions on their team, like a Gnar ult, a Syndra EQ, or a Talon ult, right? But he's also AD. Now we have Syndra. Syndra is the only AP damage on their team, so she is gotta be important, or else all the teammates on my team will just build full armor and she'll be irrelevant, and they'll lose if she's irrelevant. Next up, Tristana, the ADC. Yep, you know what the deal is. She does AD damage and a lot of it. And next up we have Talon, who's an assassin AD. Now, what do you notice? There's a lot of AD and there's no tank. And what did this J4 build? He went full assassin. Well, except for Death Dance. But he went basically full lethality, which really doesn't help their team comp because one, they already have an assassin and now they're fully just lacking any decent tank. That is exactly what I'm talking about understanding your role / no adaptivity, if that's even a word. Sometimes it's good to go the same build just to get a general reference, but even on things like Azir, it can, or mages in general, it can help to make slight adaptations to your playstyle, your runes, or your build. And the next one, which kind of is related to this, is to understand your role on the team. For example, this can change depending on how far into the game you go, or who's doing well on the team. If my Jinx was fully just 0-7, then I would think that I'm going to be the main damage dealer looking at my team. Whereas if the Jinx, like she is now, is pretty fed, then I can play more relaxed. I can look to make more of a playmaking style. I can look to relieve pressure off the Jinx so that less people try to kill her and more people try to kill me. And thus, that can result in me playing more forward, for example, or buying a Zhonya's so I can draw attention to myself. Whereas if I thought I was the sole carrier of this team, I would go full damage, stand really far back, and try to make my teammates all die before me. That's what I'm talking about understanding your role. Sometimes you have to play the role of your team that your champ isn't meant to play. If your team has no tanks and you really don't want to build tank, but you're the best tank for your team, say you're really far behind, or the other champions on your team just can't play tank even less, it's okay for you to play tank, in my opinion. And a lot of low elo players don't like this. I see a lot of supports going Lucidity Boots, which gives ability haste, even when, say, the enemy team is fully AD. Now, I understand there's a limit, but I think people underestimate that limit, and they always try to stick with their own playstyle. And usually that playstyle ends up being damage dealing, right? Because dealing damage is fun. But that makes it so that your team just has too much damage and not enough peel, not enough sustain, you know. You can't, your team comp just like looks goofy and then you have a harder time winning. Of course, the counter argument to this is that if you're good enough, you can just play full damage every game and do fine. But I'm not good enough. My teammates definitely aren't good enough. So I think at least in low or elo, it can be nice to have adaptivity, to try different roles, even if it's not the role that you want to play. Well, that about wraps it up, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. This game's also about over. If you want to join the road to 7 subs, make sure you leave a like and subscribe down below. But I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.